What's up? Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell up above for future uploads, and check out the links posted in the description down below to support the channel. Thank you. So the Marvel Legends Haslab Engine of Vengeance has officially failed. This has been an unmitigated disaster from start to finish, and it didn't need to be a disaster from start to finish. This was a very simple Haslab to operate, and in my opinion, with it being the anniversary of Ghost Rider, it was really easy to just do Robbie Reyes with the car, Carter Slade with the horse, and Vengeance with his bike. And that was it. That was a home run, and I actually think you probably would have gotten away with the $350 mark with those items. Specifically because people really want Carter Slade, and they want the comic version of the movie version, if that makes sense. I know that the comic book version is a white rider with a white horse and there's no flames involved. People want to see the comic version of the Sam Elliott character. That was easy to do in my view, and that was the home run. But instead what they decided to do, which is the Marvel Legends team, was they decided to release this item, didn't really get people going, and then decided in their infinite wisdom to have a separate figure, and that was locked behind an early board backer count. Nonsense. That was a terrible idea, because these people either don't understand or didn't understand that worked with the Hiss tank, because people were going to buy multiples of it because that's a troop building item. Whereas this Robbie Reyes card, people maximum, I'd say, were buying two. One to keep for themselves and one then to flog later on down the road, because these things always increase in price as things go on, because these are supposedly one and done items. You've also got a problem now, which is when they decided to reveal the tiers of action figures in Mephisto, the Goblin Queen, and Damon Hellstrom, everybody else is looking at what happened with the Star Wars Black Series Rancor, in that they introduced Luke Skywalker to try and get the backers up. That didn't work. Luke Skywalker was released anyway. Now, I know that the Marvel Legends team is going to come out and say these characters are absolutely not going to come out as they are in the future. Now, you have to be very careful about how these people word things, as they are. These are the type of statements that they've been making, and that says to me that these characters will come out eventually. They might not be exactly how they look with this Haslab, but you'll still get Mephisto, you'll still get Hellstrom, and you'll still get the Goblin Queen. Those are all nailed on for me, and I'm telling you, within the next 2 or 3 years they'll come out. So it's only about a bit of patience. Now, this is the thing to remember. It's already going to take a year anyway for this Haslab to get into production and out towards you. So what's another little bit of time? You've also got a Mephisto TV series supposedly coming out, and he's supposed to be making an appearance in Ironheart. So I wouldn't be worried about Mephisto not ever coming out in the Marvel Legends line, because now what's happening is people are more media literate nowadays, and they're starting to see, oh, they're planned for that show over there. Well, I'll just wait, because that character's going to get released anyway. It's like the Netflix Daredevil. There's probably going to be a re-release or some sort of update to that at some stage. Or at the very least, they'll do an update of Daredevil and people can repaint it. Now, looking at this item here, to me, very simple what they could have done with the item. Lights and sounds were an absolute must, along with being a remote control car. The thing is, the Marvel Legends team can't say that they weren't aware of the remote control cars and they weren't aware of the Bratz car, because they actually stated that then in the Boog interview. So they let us in on what they were thinking and what they were viewing. And what they were viewing were videos like mine, like Talker Arts, big shout out to him, like Elite Legend Toys, big shout out to him. And then they were viewing all of the stuff that was going on in the community, and fair play to Chaz the Guru. We've seen an awful lot of his memes floating around. And last but not least, they were talking about Articulated Ninja as well, in my opinion, and the 3POA podcast, by the way, big shout out to them. Because these are all people that came together unanimously and said, this is bang out of order, this Haslab. And they were right. Because now it has not funded, and now people see the writing on their wall, which is the likelihood of Robbie Reyes getting released on his own, very high. The likelihood of Mephisto getting released on his own, very high. Goblin Queen, Hellstrom, very high. So I wouldn't be worried about those figures, and the fact that they were only 6-inch figures and Mephisto a little bit bigger, those will absolutely come to pass. It might take a year, it might take 2 years, it might take 3, but they will absolutely come out. I wouldn't be worried about it. And the way I would look at it, guys, is this: the longer the wait, the better. Because at that point in time, if they get another year into this line and they still haven't removed the pins from each and every figure, they're going to come under serious fire. And that's already happening, by the way, because when they're putting out promotional images of figures with no pins in them, but then the figure comes out and it actually does have pins in it, that's false advertising, is it not? So anyway, they're all the things that are happening in the community and with Hasbro behind the scenes, and that's why this has failed. Now I'm just going to show you another item which you can obviously see then in the thumbnail, and this is the Transformers Generations Haslab Deathsaurus. Now bear in mind, £350 by the way for Robbie Reyes and the car. $189.99 here is obviously grossly over what this should be, because this is around an 11-inch figure, and what has happened is they've tapped in to the market, the Transformers team have, and I don't think this is going to be far beyond this one that they're going to get before they catch flack for it. They've already come out and said that Deathsaurus was planned for Legacy, but they decided to make it a Haslab instead. So at the very, I would say least, this could have been about £110, €120, 110, maybe $15 item on a store shelf. That's what this could have been. Now they have given it a few extras, they have to somewhat bulk up the price, I suppose, but still, you're paying way over the odds for this item in my view, because they decided to take an easy way out. They've seen what has happened with this campaign here, what a disaster it's been. They've seen what's happened with some of the other campaigns and seen how they just about got over the line, so they decided to put this in here. But the bottom line is this has more backers at 5,426 in the first couple of days. Their target is 11,000 for an item that I would actually consider to be obscure. This is from a Japanese TV show in Transformers. This was a follow-on from G1, and this has more backers than a Marvel product. So just to put that out there, this is a Transformer that's coming with, in my opinion as well too, these tiers, the bare minimum also. Like they're looking for 17,000 there to get a throne, I think, is it? Or a, yeah, there you go there. You've got a throne and you've got a bit of a stand there. 17,000 backers they're looking for to get that. How much are they looking for this weapon? 14,000 here for this weapon, which is an awful lot, I think, to be quite honest with you. But this is already smoking the Haslab Engine of Vengeance. This is only a couple of days in. So I'm hearing through people online, because people message me, they've said that the mouse is very unhappy with Hasbro. They are unhappy with the lack of promotion that they're getting. They're unhappy with the product that is coming out, and absolutely they should be, because if you're looking at Todd McFarlane, what he's doing, he's giving new sculpts to an awful lot of figures. He's also going to be releasing a Batwing at $315 from what I understand, and that's going to be a 7-inch scale vehicle with lights and sounds allegedly. So that's actually cheaper than this Haslab, which is a smaller scale too, by the way. So McFarlane is really crushing it over there. Now, don't get me wrong, McFarlane does have his problems, like the fact that some of the figures are out of scale, like the fact that they do still include pins, which I'm sure you'll get rid of, like the fact that they don't include faceprint technology, and like the fact that they have, some of them, not got great articulation. And I will say, quite a few figures don't have great articulation, because if they can't bend forward, if they can't ab crunch forward, to me that's absolutely nonsensical. They can bend back all the way, but they can't bend forward. But anyway, that's neither here nor there now at the moment. This is a failure now for the Marvel Legends team, and panic mode definitely set in, and it was something that we actually witnessed ourselves, and we seen them blink. And I think it's the first time in the first couple of years that these fellas have blinked, and I think it's been very interesting to watch, because the Sentinel came out, there were some issues with that. Galactus has come out, there are some issues with that, and I think people now are starting to look at it and go, not sure about this now either, because what if an LED goes in one of the wheels, or if it goes in the back seat? Is that going to be a bit of a problem going forward? Are we going to get looked after? What's happened so far seems to suggest no. So these limited edition items haven't really worked out too well. I think it's going to be another year or so before people say, right, okay, we're totally out of this here, and we totally understand what's happening. Which is, this company are getting the money now, and they're holding it in an account for a year, they're gaining interest, and they're winning on it. So they're not too concerned about you, they're not concerned about the customer. And as you looked at there, that Haslab Generations Transformers Deathsaurus, just to put it out there, that is £10 more than what it was last year. So Star Saber cost around $179 from what I remember, if I remember correctly. And now what you're getting is a little dinky car with a 6-inch figure, and I think that's worth the same amount of money as a Sentinel and a Galactus with his heralds, with a sentinel and 2 figures, and also then his tentacles and a number of heads too. They think that that dinky little car was worth that, along with some other 6-inch figures that were coming with a bare minimum too. This has been very impressive from the fans. I have to really stress that, and they are going to have to take a real hard look at what they do next, because if they do the likes of a Giant Man, that'll probably go down well. Apocalypse and his Horsemen, that'll go down well. Fantastic car. I wouldn't go next to near that if I was them. That could be another failure in the making, to be quite honest. And then you're looking at some of the way people now view the Marvel Legends line as a whole, along with the team. I do believe this now. You are seeing some strange moves go on at Hasbro, which was the Star Wars Black Series has had 2 failures on its hands. None of that team were changed. You are seeing them fail forward then into the Indiana Jones line, a line of action figures that nobody asked for. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not sure why you would want them, but that's just me. Then you've got them at that. But I do think, controversially, I do think that the Marvel Legends team are under serious pressure. And I think that you could see changes there, because it did seem like 1 or 2 of them now have gotten a bit too big for their boots. And I think now fan sentiment and the community doesn't seem to like 1 or 2 of them. And I think you could probably see a change going on there fairly soon. This is a company, by the way, that has been interested in promoting pronouns, and its leadership, in fact, of the G.I. Joe license didn't know that it was no longer going to Europe, a whole continent, by the way, that they didn't know about that at all. Yet this is supposed to be the face of the brand. Let's not forget that the people that are out in the front doing these fan streams and pretend to care about these items, to pretend to care about these characters, whilst making weird statements like talking about breakdancing and all like that, very strange things to be saying. These people are ultimately faces for a corporation to pretend to be one of you. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm a fan, and I'm a fan of Ghost Rider, and what I would have done with this Haslab was Robbie Reyes with the car, Carter Slade with the horse, and Vengeance with the bike. Absolute home run. That's not what they did though. They decided to add other characters in, like from the X-Men, to hope that the X-Men crowd would come in and save them. That didn't happen. And by the way, shout out to the X-Men crowd, because the VHS line that you were getting has been stopped now to go towards Spider-Man. So anyway, they'll also talk about the prices of things going up. But like I said, £10 difference there between Star Saber last year and Death Saurus this year. There's actually no reason for this to be as expensive as it is, considering the fact it doesn't have a remote control ability. So these people have completely and utterly lost the fan base. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they present themselves now going forward, because there has been some sort of, I would say, passive-aggressive statements, passive-aggressive behaviour that has been coming from that team. And listen, I get it. I 100% get it. Because these are guys that do have these profiles, and I'm sure some of the stuff that's being sent towards them is probably less than kind. And I would say some of the stuff is less than civil, other than what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to be as civil and respectful as possible, but I don't think that other people would be, because other people are very much so upset at the direction that this company are taking and the greediness that this company are showing. Now, companies are going to do that, but there's a way about doing it, and what they've done here is they've gone the wrong way about it. The Transformers team, on the other hand, to me, come across well, come across as fans, seem to be making deep cuts, are very interested in accuracy, and even if they do get it wrong, they hold their hands up straight away and they're like, sorry about that, guys. What's happening now, by the way, in the Transformers team is they're kind of looking back at the previous team being like, yeah, that was under them, that's not us. And then you can quite clearly see what's under this current team. That's what I'm saying. So maybe there's going to be a change with the Marvel Legends team, because this is a massive failure. And like I said, you don't only have Hasbro breathing down your neck on this one, you have Disney breathing down your neck on this too. And I'd say they're less than pleased, because how does this make their Ghost Rider, this woke, diverse Ghost Rider that they've introduced, look an absolute flop? And ultimately, by the way, this goes yet again to show you can get as many likes, retweets and comments on the likes of Twitter, but those people won't come in and save your project. It won't happen. People like myself, Torga Art, Elite Legend Toys, and various other people that are out there are the people with the money, are the people that are fans and have been long-standing fans. And when you decide to mess fans around, they're going to hold the money back and say, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend it on something else there more interesting. So anyway, this has been an absolute joy to watch, and it's been an absolute joy to report on. I personally hope that they go for another ridiculous Haslab in the future, and maybe a more appropriately priced one is probably what they'll go with next. I could see them doing, I really be honest with you on this one, I don't think Fin Fan Fun is going to be one that they're going to do. I think it's too obscure. I think it's going to be Apocalypse with the Horsemen. I think it's a really easy one to do. I think if you make a large Apocalypse is a popular character, and then you do the 4 Horsemen with that, happy days. I'll also say about this too, they decided to withhold the tiers. So this whole thing of, hey guys, we're not going to show you what's on the tiers. We're going to reveal them to you as you break the wall down of the number of backers that we need. That's not going to fly anymore now. I think they need to have a real big strategy change and start showing people what they have from the get-go. Because what's also happened is people's imaginations have run wild since this began, and then it's failed. Like, I'll be honest with you, I said to myself, yeah, they probably introduced Johnny Blaze or something like that at some stage of the game, or they might even surprisingly have Carter Slade with the horse. And I think it was like 3 or 4 days in, Danny Young was like, nah, there won't be any riders with bikes, and they're not going to have Carter Slade with the horse. They're good suggestions though. I was like, whoa, that's not looking good, and it didn't. So there you go. Anyway, make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell up above for future uploads, and check out the links posted in the description down below to support channel.